Today, we are pulling back the curtain on one of the most incredible non-stop performances happening inside of you right this very second. It's a secret balancing act that keeps you alive, and it goes by the name of homeostasis.
I mean, really think about that for a moment. Whether it's freezing cold outside, blistering hot, or you've just chugged a sugary soda, your internal world, your temperature, your blood sugar, it all stays remarkably stable. How in the world does your body pull that off?
Well, the answer is this amazing concept, homeostasis. It's the whole process of keeping everything inside you humming along within a very, very narrow range that's required for you to live. And it's not just about surviving, right? This constant balancing act is the very reason you can thrive.
Now, it's really important to get this. This balancing act isn't static. It's not like your body just hits a perfect set point and freezes there. No way. It's this relentless active process, a non-stop cycle of monitoring and adjusting, second by second. Biologists call this state of constant active balancing dynamic equilibrium.
So, how does the body actually do all this? Well, it uses what you can think of as a universal control system. It's like an internal manager that follows the same 5-step playbook for pretty much any change you can throw at it.
Let's just walk through a quick example. First, you've got a stimulus. Let's say your body temperature drops. Okay, step 2, a receptor, like some nerve cells in your skin, detects this change and sends out an alert. Step 3, the control center, which is your brain, gets the message and says, "Whoa, that's too cold compared to our set point." Step 4, it sends a command to an effector, in this case, your muscles. And finally, step 5, the response. You start shivering to generate heat. See? Simple, elegant, and it's happening inside you all the time.
All right, so the most common way your body uses this whole system is through something called negative feedback. You should think of this as the great stabilizer. Its entire job is to bring things back to the middle.
And that's the key takeaway here. Negative feedback always works to oppose or reverse the initial change. If something gets too high, this system kicks in to bring it down. If it gets too low, the system works to bring it back up. Its only mission is to restore that perfect balance.
You know, the absolute best way to understand this is with an analogy we all know, a thermostat in your house. When the room gets too cold, what happens? The thermostat senses it and turns the heat on. Once it warms up to the right temperature, it turns the heat off. It is a perfect, real-world example of a negative feedback loop.
And this diagram here shows a beautiful biological version of that. When your levels of a hormone called thyroxine drop, a part of your brain, the hypothalamus, sends out a signal. That signal tells the pituitary gland to send another signal to your thyroid. The thyroid then gets the message and releases more thyroxine, which ramps up your metabolism and brings your temperature back to normal. And once the levels are good, that first signal from the brain just shuts off. It's a perfect self-correcting loop.
And we're not just talking about temperature. Look at this list. Negative feedback is the master regulator for almost everything keeping you alive. Your blood pressure, your blood sugar after you eat, even the feeling of thirst that tells you to drink water, it's all run by negative feedback. It is the absolute workhorse of homeostasis.
But that's not the only tool in the body's toolbox. There is another, much rarer mechanism called positive feedback. And if negative feedback is the stabilizer, you can think of positive feedback as the amplifier.
This chart makes the difference super clear. Negative feedback, as we said, reverses the change to create stability. Positive feedback, on the other hand, enhances or amplifies the change, pushing the system further and further away from where it started. And it's rare for a really, really good reason.
Pushing the body away from its happy place, away from balance. I mean, that sounds dangerous, right? And most of the time, it absolutely is. An uncontrolled positive feedback loop can be incredibly harmful. But there are a few very specific, very crucial moments where this amplification is exactly what the body needs to get a big job done.
And here is the most powerful example of all: childbirth. When labor begins, the baby pushes on the cervix. This sends a signal to the brain to release the hormone oxytocin. Oxytocin then causes stronger contractions, which pushes the baby harder on the cervix, which triggers the release of even more oxytocin. This amplifying cycle builds and builds and builds, getting more and more intense until the goal, delivering the baby, is achieved. And then the loop stops.
So we've seen how these amazing systems are supposed to work, but what happens when this intricate balancing act, well, when it fails? This is where we get into a state known as homeostatic imbalance. And honestly, the stakes could not be higher.
When the body loses its ability to self-regulate, when it can't maintain that stable internal environment, the direct result is disease. And if that imbalance gets severe enough, it can even be fatal.
So many diseases that you've probably heard of are, at their very core, failures of homeostasis. Diabetes, for example, is a failure to regulate blood glucose. Hypothermia is a failure to regulate body temperature. Every single one of these is a breakdown in one of those critical feedback loops we've been talking about.
This quote really brings us full circle, doesn't it? It hammers home that central idea. Your health isn't some passive state you just exist in. It is the result of this constant, dynamic, active process of monitoring and adjusting that's happening every single moment, all without you ever having to think about it.
So as we wrap up, I'll just leave you with this question to think about. Whether it's keeping the pH of your blood just right or regulating the pressure in your arteries, what is the most amazing balancing act that your body is performing for you right this second? That silent, relentless work of homeostasis. It's truly the secret to life itself.